I want to talk about the state of mainstream rap because I feel like it's kind of in the gutter right now, besides a few like Diamonds and the Dirts. Um, let's start off with the Diamonds, actually. I think the mainstream rap albums that have been made recently that I think are very good and are kind of standouts and aren't just like trap slop or super boring. God Does Like Ugly by JID. I think it's a phenomenal album. Production's good. His lyricism's good. His voice is smooth. It's nice. Perfect track length. I wouldn't feel the need to add or remove any songs. I never got bored when I was listening to the project. Overall, great project, right? The follow up by J. Cole. I think that's also another amazing album. It did slog at some points. There were some songs I'd take off the project, but overall, his lyricism was amazing. The beats were good, his production was good, his cadence was good. He never came off as arrogant in this project unless he wanted to. I think overall it's like a true testament to how not washed J. Cole is. I think overall super solid projects. But for as many good mainstream rap projects you have twice as many stinkers. And when I'm talking stinkers, I don't mean like your ones that went under the radar a little bit, like Don't Tap the Glass by Tyler the Creator, that was 2025, I believe in the June or something like that. Um, Fine project, pretty boring. Not really inventive for Tyler's style, didn't really try anything new, but not at all bad. I'm talking about the Gunnas and the Little Babies, if that makes sense. The DDGs, for example, Lil Baby's project Wham. He released, I think, right at the start of 2025. Right? Like 20 or so songs. All of them were boring, generic trap beats. Didn't introduce anything new or have any unique inventive flows. There was really nothing interesting coming from Lil Baby's mouth. And it was just clear that he's past his prime. He's got his bag. He can stop rapping now. People don't need him to rap. That's okay. He can retire. Nobody would miss him at this point. He just listened to his old stuff. It's so much better, so much more creative, so much more new and fresh in feeling. I mean, obviously his older stuff isn't new. Um, Gunna is another artist, very similar situation to Lil Baby. He released 20 or so songs that are just generic trap. His flow stays the same throughout the whole album. There's nothing new or inventive. He's not trying to change how he raps. He's not trying to prove his versatility. He's just doing the same thing over and over again throughout the throughout the album, and it just makes it so uninteresting and boring, and doesn't give me faith in Gunna as an artist to kind of invent himself and keep himself um fresh and ready to provide new things to rap. On the other side of the spectrum of bad rap projects that have released, there's also projects that were just not good. Like the artist, I don't believe the artist is washed, but the artist definitely could have done better. Like Jack Boys 2. A big problem for why the project wasn't received well was because of the track length. You could have cut a good amount of songs off of it, but a big part of it was also the features Travis chose that weren't originally in the Jack Boys members. When I say that, I'm talking about mainly Don Toliver and Sofago because I believe they delivered on their parts. But like nobody really wanted to see Glorilla on the on this album, and I believe 21 Savage was on a song on this project. I can't remember that well. We had a song on this album, by the way. I just want to say it's Travis Scott, Cardi, and Future. I'm saying 5 years ago, if you show me that list of artists who are working on one song, I think it's the most amazing song ever, right? But it was just boring and too long. Himself didn't deliver. Like probably one of the best songs on this album was with only Travis Scott was Dumbo. That's only because I believe it's the hook or the chorus. It was catchy and he sounded nice. But besides that, on the rest of the song, he didn't sound great. The rest of the song, this the part you skip, you just go to the part that sounds good, and that's really a shame because I think Travis Scott is a great artist. I can see that through Astroworld and Rodeo. I think he has the potential to make great songs. We kind of saw that on Champagne and Vacay. He definitely still has the like flows and hooks to do well in the mainstream, but this project did not show that to me whatsoever. Um, that's kind of all I really want to talk about for mainstream. Obviously, there's some other albums, mainstream albums that released this year that were kind of just boring. Like the three albums Drake released, I believe it's Iceman, Habibti, and Maid of Honor. Those were all pretty mediocre at best. Iceman was definitely the best one of them all. Maid of Honor, Habibti were snooze fest. I've never listened to those albums ever again. Um, Future just released an album called The Real Me, and I actually want to talk about this a little longer because I think it's probably the best way of me conveying my idea of what I think a lot of mainstream rappers are doing right now. I think Future is a good example of this. They were very good in the 2000s, 2010s. Future did drop some good projects. Drake did drop some good projects. I'm not 100% hater, but this is also referring to Iceman to a lesser extent though, because Iceman still has some decent songs. And then they they have they have everything they need basically. They've gotten their bag. They're basically famous for life, and it's clear that they're out of their prime. And when they release a project, you can tell because it's especially in Future's case, all of the songs are very similar, and he doesn't try to invent anything unique. He doesn't try to uh, make himself more versatile, kind of show that off to his audience. Um, he just does the same thing he was doing in like the 2010s, and worse so because now he's older and he doesn't really have that. Um, he doesn't have a need for it anymore, which serves as motivation for a lot of up and coming rappers, and Future was up and coming like the 2000s, 2010s, to rap because they need the money from it. It's clear Future is just doing this to kind of maybe make a quick buck, trying to get his audience to feel a little bit nostalgic because of the generic trap beats, and his performance isn't anything special. His lyrics are still poor, even though he's like 50 now. Still talking about. I'm not even gonna go there. Actually, 2018 is an awful song if you want an example, and he doesn't try to invent himself. It's nothing special. It's clear that these artists they had their shine, and now they just want money out of the art, which is the my personally what I think the number one sin in something like art, like music. You do it for literally just the love of the game. You do it for yourself, to invent yourself, to pursue things you want to do creatively. And I could tell that Futures project and like Iceman to an extent that was not the goal of this project. Um, I'll end this video on a positive note though. Something I do want to talk about underground rap because I feel like that's an area where it's underground rap isn't perfect at this moment. There are still a lot of artists who I think are subpar, but there are a lot more artists who are clearly doing this genuinely just because they love the music and they want to put themselves out there. And I think that's exactly what you need in art forms. I'll go over a few of the names I like. Maybe I'll go more in depth in artists I really like. Um, Slayer, a very unique production. I think they bring a lot of like color to them to the underground because there's a lot of artists like for example Osama-san where it's just like distorted 808s and that's the extent of their production. Like Che too. Che did better on Rest in Bass than Osama-san, but it's kind of the same problem you can see in some of their songs. Skite has done that too. He has really unique production. He has kind of more personal lyrics. Same thing with Pretty Fun too. He's just brought a lot of life to underground rap, like especially in the sea of underground rappers who are really just trying to copy bigger underground rappers. But like those kind of artists aren't interesting to me just because of how similar they all sound and how they don't provide anything that I haven't already heard, if that makes sense. I think that's one of the things underground artists like Slayer and Skite and Pretty Fun are doing extremely well right now. They're giving a breath of fresh air to the underground, and I think we 100% need that in the mainstream. I did say I'd go over some underground artists I think have great lyricism. I'm kind of stepping out of underground rage now. I'm going into more conscious rap. Let me think off the top of my head. Red Veil, he released Sankofa in late 2025, I believe November, December. Amazing project, really emotional, great vocals on that project, great instrumentation. Amazing project, talks a lot about his personal struggles. I think we need more of that in rap personally. Saba too. He's less underground. He's definitely made a name for himself, but he's kind of in that monthly listener range of underground artists. I think he's at like 900,000 roughly. Care for Me is a generational project. Same thing with Few Good Things. Really amazing storytelling. My personal favorite artist in terms of storytelling. Very vulnerable artist with his music. Very lyrically gifted. He's able to paint a picture extremely well, and I think that's something that's amazing. That's missing in conscious, quote unquote, conscious rappers that are mainstream today, like Kendrick Lamar, for example. Personally, I think amazing artist, but GNX was not. It was not a good project. There were so many songs that were so clearly just trying to be mainstream. I feel like kind of strayed away from Kendrick's identity in a poor way. It's kind of like he's devolving his lyricism instead of um such amazing metaphors and storytelling and deep thoughts hidden within like simple words that he had on, let's say, what, Good Kid, Mad City, Miss Morale and the Big Steppers. He's has less of that on his on GNX. Obviously, it's there in like the Heart Part 5 and I think it's called Reincarnated. I think those are good songs. They're good demonstrations that it's not washed yet. But like when you get to the like even the title track GNX, Peekaboo, Squabble Up, those songs are artistically, I think, less advanced than Kendrick's usual stuff, and that's rough to see because I thought he was one of the main hosts or the mainstream. I think he could pull something off, but that's not giving me hope. But just to leave this video on a high note, I want to give you guys a reminder. These are all my opinions. My opinions aren't factual whatsoever. I don't really know that much about rap. There are people who are much more well informed than me. If you have your own opinions, awesome. If you disagree with my takes, awesome. Leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. Yeah, I don't mean any hate towards the artists that I've said were not good and I didn't like their art. I don't mean that in any way. I didn't mean any ill intent. I'm just putting my opinion out there. Yeah, feel free to disagree with me. What I say isn't fact. And just to leave on a high note, I do not think rap is going to go downhill and crash and nobody's going to like it anymore. That's never going to happen, I believe. I believe that the underground is definitely doing a lot of the heavy lifting, but the mainstream definitely has potential to grow and become better than its current state as long as there's general competition. We have some newcomers because if we just have old artists in the mainstream, it's not going to go well because they have all the money they need. They're going to lose the motivation to make unique new music, and they're just going to make quick cash grabs in the form of like generic trap albums, like I talked about with Wham, Am I the Drama, The Real Me, Iceman, stuff like that, man. And I believe we can 100% change that. I don't believe everything's over. So yeah, that's kind of just my thoughts. If you didn't like the video, don't subscribe. If you like the video, consider subscribing. Let me know any criticism you want in the comments. Just, yeah. Okay, bye.